Moving to a quiet neighborhood was supposed to be the fresh start my family needed. We had just left the chaos of city life behind and settled into a cozy house on the edge of Silverwood Pines, a community known for its trees, trails, and as I would soon learn, its tyrannical HOA. My name is Daniel Reeves. I'm 36, a software engineer, and all I ever wanted was peace for my wife, Marissa, and our 10-year-old daughter, Ellie. The house was outside the HOA boundaries. That's why we bought it. No restrictions. No random fines. Just freedom. Or so we thought. On our second day there, a woman in oversized sunglasses and a stiff smile showed up on our porch with a clipboard. Her name? Karen Whitlow, president of the Silverwood Pines Homeowners Association. "Welcome to the neighborhood," she chirped, handing me a thick packet. "We're so glad you're here. If you'll just sign these papers, we can get your HOA membership activated." I flipped through it, 20 pages of bylaws, dues, and restrictions. Lawn length, mailbox color, even rules about what kind of curtains we could have. I handed the packet back. "Thanks, but we're not part of the HOA. Our property isn't inside the official zone." Karen's smile thinned. "Oh, sweetheart, the HOA is more of a community expectation than a boundary issue." Marissa stepped beside me. "We bought this house specifically because it wasn't included. We're not joining." Karen blinked, lips twitching. "Well, that's disappointing." And just like that, she left. We thought it was over. It wasn't. That week, we started noticing strange things. Our trash cans were accidentally taken to the wrong side of the road. Someone left a warning note on our car about unapproved parking. Lawn service crews showed up uninvited, claiming they'd been contracted by the HOA. Karen was sending a message, join or suffer. I documented everything. Took photos. Logged dates. Even installed cameras on the porch. Then, on a quiet Saturday morning, it escalated. I was out front washing my car. Marissa was planting flowers with Ellie. That's when 2 police cruisers rolled up. An officer approached. "Sir, we got a call about a non-compliant resident causing disruption and refusing to cooperate with neighborhood safety policies." I stared. "What?" "Someone from the HOA said you were harassing members and refusing mandatory inspections." I laughed. "We're not even in the HOA." He raised an eyebrow. "You mind showing me proof?" I brought out the deed, maps, documents, all showing we were exempt. He looked annoyed, not at me but at the situation. He left without issuing a citation. But something about his tone stuck with me. This isn't the first bogus call from this HOA. He wasn't wrong. 3 hours later, every board member of Silverwood Pines HOA was being investigated. Because Karen wasn't just annoying. She was running a scam. After the cops left, Marissa stood frozen on the porch, Ellie clinging to her leg. I could feel the tension boiling in her, but she kept her voice calm. "That woman really called the police on us for not joining her club?" I nodded. "It's not just a club. She's using the HOA like a weapon." That night, I dug deeper into Silverwood Pines HOA history. I didn't like what I found. Karen Whitlow had been president for 6 years. During that time, she doubled HOA fees, fined dozens of residents for made-up violations, and expanded her authority to homes that were clearly outside the HOA boundaries, like ours. One homeowner had even tried to sue her a year ago. Case vanished quietly. No news, no settlement, just silence. That felt off. The next day, while walking Ellie to school, I was approached by an elderly man with a cane and a knowing smile. "You're the new folks on Forest Lane," he said, nodding. "Yes, sir. Name's Bill. I used to be on the HOA board until Karen had me voted out." "What happened?" He leaned in. "She's running that place like a kingdom. Charges people for things they didn't do. Controls the landscapers, contractors, even the security patrol. If you don't obey, things start happening to your house, your car, your kids' school bus schedule. I felt my blood run cold. She thinks we'll back down, I said. Bill chuckled. That's what she counts on. Most people do. That evening, our mailbox was smashed. Not a dent, completely destroyed. Camera didn't catch the vandal, but we both knew who sent the message. Till I refused to back down. I emailed the HOA directly, stating once and for all that our property was exempt and that any further harassment would be documented for legal action. 2 hours later, I got a response from their official board email. Silverwood Pines holds authority over all adjacent properties, as voted by internal committee in 2021. Your resistance is being logged as non-compliance. You will receive further notice. Non-compliance, Marissa said, reading over my shoulder. Who do they think they are, the government? I don't know, I said, but they're acting like they're above the law. That's when I made the decision. I took all the photos, police interaction notes, the mailbox footage, and the email chain, and I sent it to a local investigative reporter I knew from college. Her name was Camille Voss, and she had a reputation for exposing shady suburban scandals. She responded in 5 minutes. This isn't the first HOA abuse story I've heard, but it might be the worst. Meet me tomorrow. I'm bringing a legal team. That next meeting would change everything. Because when Camille dug deeper, she found something I hadn't expected. Karen's HOA wasn't just aggressive, it was illegal. Camille met us the next morning at a diner just off Main Street. She wasn't what you'd expect from an investigative journalist. Leather jacket, no-nonsense stare, and a laptop that looked like it had seen battle. She got right to it. I pulled the tax records on the Silverwood Pines HOA, she said, sliding her laptop around so we could see. Turns out they filed for nonprofit status 5 years ago, but haven't submitted a single financial update since. Marissa leaned in. That's illegal, right? Extremely, Camille replied. But that's not even the juicy part. She pulled up another screen. A list of payments made from the HOA's bank account over the past 12 months, landscapers, security vendors, even neighborhood events. But 2 names stood out. Karen Whitlow, consulting fee, $3,500 per month. Harper Whitlow, vendor services, $2,100 per month. I blinked. Harper? Her son, Camille said, runs a fake cleaning company that bills the HOA for services no one can verify. Marissa gasped. So she's paying herself and laundering it through family? Camille nodded. And here's the kicker. None of this is reported to the homeowners. There's no public budget, no audit trail. She's treating the HOA like her personal piggy bank. I sat back. How is she getting away with it? Camille shrugged. Most HOAs are small-time. They don't get federal attention unless someone pushes hard. But guess what I did this morning? She smiled, then tapped on a new email. Subject, Federal Fraud and Tax Evasion Complaint Filed, Silverwood Pines HOA. To Department of Housing and Urban Development. CC IRS Local County Records Division. I send it all, Camille said. And they already responded. They're opening a case. I stared at her. So what happens now? If they act fast? A financial audit. A raid. Maybe even indictments. Felt unreal, like the tide was turning finally. But I knew better than to celebrate too early. Because Karen wasn't the type to go down without a fight. That evening, just as the sun dipped behind the trees, we heard a knock on the door. Karen stood there, arms crossed, flanked by 2 HOA board members with clipboards and smug expressions. We need to inspect your property, she said coolly. You've been flagged for unauthorized plantings, excessive noise, and improper fencing. Per HOA guidelines, we're allowed access. I smiled. You're not allowed anything. We're not in your jurisdiction. She tilted her head. If you refuse, we'll be forced to escalate. I stepped forward, looking her dead in the eye. Already taken care of. The state's about to escalate things for you. She didn't know what I meant yet, but she would. 'Cause less than 72 hours later, the FBI and the IRS showed up at the HOA clubhouse. The morning started quiet. I was sipping coffee on the porch with Marissa, Ellie drawing chalk flowers on the sidewalk. Felt like the calm before something big, and it was. 9:12 a.m. we heard sirens. 2 unmarked black SUVs rolled down the street, followed by a white van marked IRS Criminal Investigation Division. Behind them, a local sheriff's cruiser blocked off the entrance to the Silverwood Pines Community Clubhouse. I stood. Marissa looked at me, eyes wide. "Is this it?" I nodded. "They're not here for tea." Word spread like wildfire. Neighbors peeked out from blinds, some stepping onto their lawns, phones already out recording. And there, standing frozen on the HOA clubhouse steps, was Karen Whitlow, arms crossed, eyes squinting at the agents like they were Girl Scouts selling cookies. But the agents weren't smiling. One handed her a stack of papers, a search warrant. Another opened the clubhouse doors with a key retrieved from the board treasurer, who looked like he was about to faint. Camille arrived seconds later with a camera crew. "I got the tip this morning," she said breathlessly. "They're hitting 3 HOA officers' houses next." It was like watching a corrupt empire collapse in real time. One agent emerged with several boxes, labeled HOA financials, bank transfers, and member payments. Another had a laptop sealed in a clear evidence bag. Karen tried to protest, voice trembling. "This is harassment. I'm a respected community leader." The agent didn't flinch. "You're under investigation for tax fraud, financial misrepresentation, and unauthorized property enforcement. If you have questions, direct them to the federal prosecutor." Karen's mouth opened, then closed. She knew. I couldn't help but walk over. I kept my tone calm. "You called the cops on me for washing my car, but forgot to file taxes for 4 years." She glared at me. "This isn't over." "Actually," I said with a grin, "it's just getting started." And then the final twist. Camille approached one of the agents and whispered something. He nodded, then pulled out another envelope and walked toward Bruce Callahan, the HOA's vice president. "Bruce Callahan?" the agent asked. Bruce gulped. "Yes. You're being subpoenaed. We have records showing you received direct payments from contractors using HOA funds, contractors tied to Ms. Whitlow's son." Bruce's face turned ghost white. By noon, 3 board members had been escorted away for questioning. Karen, still on the steps, silent, stunned, the entire neighborhood watching. People didn't speak to her. They didn't shout. They just stared and recorded. That night, I got an email. The HOA board was suspended indefinitely. The community would be reviewed for legal restructuring. And Karen? She was about to face charges, federal ones. The raid made headlines the next morning. Local HOA board under federal investigation for fraud, extortion. Silverwood Pines turns sour. IRS targets board president in shocking raid. Karen's mugshot wasn't published yet, but her name was everywhere. My phone blew up. Neighbors who once avoided eye contact were suddenly texting, calling, even stopping by. "Daniel, we're so sorry. We had no idea. She fined us for a garden gnome, turns out she was stealing thousands? What's going to happen to our dues?" I didn't feel victorious. Not yet. Just tired. Marissa leaned into me on the couch. "It's like we woke everyone up." I nodded. Fear kept them quiet. Now fear's on her side. The HOA website went down within 24 hours. Their social media page was bombarded with angry comments and gifs of falling empires. The community clubhouse was sealed. Agents had locked it down as evidence. Then the letters started coming. Hand-delivered envelopes dropped on doorsteps. Some were anonymous. Others were from residents. Some apologized for siding with Karen. Some begged for help understanding what would happen next, and a few threatened legal action if their dues weren't returned. The house next to ours, owned by Bruce Callahan, the HOA VP, was suddenly empty. For sale sign out front, cars gone overnight. But Karen? She stayed. At least for now. The woman who once walked the neighborhood like royalty now crept outside in hoodies and sunglasses. Her yard went untrimmed. No more mandated perfection. Power was gone, and she knew it. Then came the bombshell. Camille called. They're moving forward with charges. Mail fraud. Wire fraud. Possibly racketeering. And get this, she might have forged signatures to expand the HOA's territory illegally. My eyes widened. So, that fake vote from 2021? Completely fabricated, Camille confirmed. If that's proven in court, every fine she ever issued could be overturned and she'll be liable for damages. It was surreal. The same woman who threatened to report me for non-compliance might soon be standing in court, forced to explain where thousands of dollars went. But one thing still bugged me. Why us? We weren't the only ones who refused to join. We weren't loud. We weren't disruptive. So why target my family? Then one of the former board members called, a guy named Mike who'd quietly resigned last year. He said, "She targeted you because your house is on the corner lot." What does that have to do with anything? She wanted to expand the HOA's reach. That lot was the anchor. If she could claim you, she could force the rest of the cul-de-sac. So it was all about control. And when we didn't bow, she tried to break us. Instead, she broke herself. But it wasn't over just yet. Because now that the HOA was under federal scrutiny, a new fight had begun. The neighbors wanted their money back. And I had just the plan to help them get it. With the HOA board dismantled, you'd think people would breathe easy. But now that the fear was gone, rage took its place. Dozens of residents began comparing notes. Some had paid thousands in violation fees over the years. One woman was fined for kids' sidewalk chalk. Another charged $500 for having wind chimes. The community had been extorted in plain sight, and no one stopped it. Called Camille. "I want to help," I said. "These people deserve their money back." She agreed. Good. Because the state attorney's office is watching closely, and they love community-led accountability. So I got to work. I created a secure online form where neighbors could submit past HOA violations, fines, and payments. In just 48 hours, over 90 homeowners submitted evidence. Some had canceled checks with Whitlow Property Services written in the memo line, a company owned by Karen's nephew. Camille passed the data to the federal agents. And then came the class action. One brave homeowner, a retired schoolteacher named Joyce, agreed to lead the civil suit. We hired an attorney. The demand? Full reimbursement of improper fines and damages for emotional distress, property interference, and harassment. The lawsuit hit local media hard. Silverwood residents sue former HOA president for $2.1 million. Fines, fraud, and fear. The empire Karen built is crumbling. Karen tried to fight back, filed a motion to dismiss, claimed it was a misunderstanding. Her lawyer released a bland statement about community leadership challenges. But no one bought it anymore. The next town meeting, we held a public forum. Residents stood and shared stories. One after another. A single mom who nearly lost her home after repeated false citations. An elderly couple who were harassed over the shade of their shutters. A young veteran who had been fined $200 for flying an American flag on his porch. By the time it was my turn to speak, the room was silent. "I moved here to give my daughter peace," I said. Instead, we were bullied, threatened, and treated like criminals for refusing to join something we never agreed to. This wasn't about rules. It was about control. And now we're taking that control back. Applause erupted. Later that night, as we walked home under the stars, Marissa squeezed my hand. "You did it," she whispered. "No," I said. "We did." That night, I got a call from Camille. "They're finalizing the charges," she said. "Karen's trial is coming. And guess what? They wanted me on the witness list. The man she tried to intimidate, now the man who'd helped take her down. The board she built was gone. The money she hoarded was being demanded back. Her name? A stain on the very street she once ruled. But the final blow? That was still coming.